Disney's billion-dollar drainage system is failing. Guests are getting trapped, knee-deep in rising water as Florida's swamp reclaims the theme parks. Picture this. You're standing in Fantasyland. Your kids are crying. Water is rushing past your ankles, climbing toward your knees. Churro carts surrounded. Strollers abandoned. The most magical place on Earth is transforming into something that looks like a flood zone. And here is what Disney does not want you to think about. This is not a freak accident. This is not a broken pipe. This is a 60-year war between the world's most famous theme park and the swamp it was built on. What most guests do not realize is that when you walk through Magic Kingdom, you are not standing on solid ground. You are standing on conquered territory. Land that was never meant to hold a theme park. Land that has been fighting back since the day Disney arrived. Beneath your feet right now, there is a hidden empire of tunnels, pipes, and secret ponds. An underground drainage network so massive it rivals some cities. And somehow, it is still not enough. So what went wrong? Why is one of the greatest engineering projects in American history losing the battle against Florida rain? And is the swamp that Disney tried to erase finally winning? To understand why Disney floods today, you have to go back to 1890. Pull an Orange County atlas from the archives. Open it to the land that would one day become Walt Disney World. What you find is not a future vacation destination. It is a swamp. The atlas shows 6 land classifications in this region: scrub, hammock, marsh, prairie, cypress swamp, bay-low hammock swamp, and sawgrass. The future Disney property sits almost entirely within 2 categories: cypress swamp and bay-low hammock swamp. This is not buildable land. This is wetland that floods constantly and drains almost never. The western edge of the property borders the Reedy Creek Swamp. The eastern edge borders the Bonnet Creek Swamp. To the north sits Bay Lake. That sounds pleasant until you realize that Bay Lake in 1890 was not really a lake at all. It was a swamp pretending to be something else. The only usable land existed in the very center of the property, prairie and savanna, and even that flooded during parts of the year. Walt Disney knew exactly what he was buying. In his famous Epcot film, he described his vision with confidence. He said the area they proposed to develop is between the Reedy Creek Swamp and the Bonnet Creek Swamp. He added that one thing they did not need was a fence to protect them from trespassers. Walt saw the swamps as natural barriers, free security. He understood the geography. What he perhaps underestimated was the hydrology. Here is the fundamental problem that would haunt Disney for the next 6 decades. You cannot build on swampland, not without transforming the earth itself. The soil is saturated. The water table sits inches below the surface. Drainage channels do not exist. Rain falls and water stays, for weeks, for months. Standing water with nowhere to go. Disney was not just planning to build a theme park. They were planning to rewrite Florida's geology, to impose human engineering on a hydrological system that had existed for thousands of years. What would that transformation require? The answer would become one of the most ambitious drainage projects in American history. The year is 1966. Disney releases its annual shareholder report. Buried within the corporate language is the first public admission of what Disney is really doing in Florida. They are not just buying land. They are forming the Reedy Creek Drainage District, a legal entity with extraordinary powers and one primary mission: drain the swamp. The United States Geological Survey documented exactly what Disney was facing. 2 reports published between 1966 and 1984 describe battlefield conditions that would terrify any engineer. The findings are brutal. Heavy rainfall recharges the sands to full capacity and causes water to stand over a large part of the Reedy Creek Improvement District. The reports describe an almost complete lack of well-defined tributary stream channels. Surplus water remains in the basin for long periods of time before eventually finding its way to the creeks. Translation: water falls. Water stays. There are no natural drainage paths. The entire property is a giant bowl that fills up and never empties. Disney did not buy land. They bought a drainage nightmare. The engineering response was massive. Disney constructed a network of canals to replace what the geological surveys called poorly defined, swampy valleys. They installed dikes throughout the property for water control. They built automatic flow control structures that could regulate water levels across thousands of acres. Every drop of swamp water had to be diverted away from construction zones. Historical aerial photographs show the scale of this transformation. Canals carved through wilderness like surgical incisions. Straight lines cut through land that had never seen straight lines before. Water was forced to move in directions it had never moved before. This was not landscaping. This was not site preparation. This was terraforming. Disney was attempting to impose industrial order on a hydrological system that had functioned the same way for thousands of years. They were telling water where to go, and water does not like being told where to go. But the canals were just the beginning. Disney's most audacious move targeted Bay Lake itself. Bay Lake, the centerpiece of Walt Disney's Vacation Kingdom vision. A shimmering body of water where guests would swim and boat and experience Florida paradise. There was just one problem. Bay Lake was not really a lake. It was a swamp with delusions of grandeur. Look at the original conditions. There was no clear boundary between Bay Lake and the swamps surrounding it. The water blended into wetland, which blended into more wetland. The bottom of the lake was filled with what engineers described as swampy muck, decades of organic decay, centuries of sediment. The water quality was nowhere near suitable for the resort experience Walt envisioned. Guests could not swim in it, and guests could not boat in it. This was not a vacation amenity. This was a liability. Disney's solution was audacious. They drained the entire lake, every drop of water removed, and then they excavated the entire lake bed, every inch of swampy muck pulled out. The scale of this operation is difficult to comprehend. An entire lake emptied and scraped clean. But here is where the story takes an unexpected turn. Beneath all that muck, engineers discovered something remarkable: pristine white sand. Beautiful sand that had been buried under swamp sediment for centuries. Disney used that sand to construct beaches around Bay Lake and along the Seven Seas Lagoon. The swamp provided its own decoration. Then came the refill. But Disney did not refill Bay Lake with the swamp water they had removed. They pumped fresh water from Florida's deep aquifer. Clean water, clear water. They did not restore the lake. They replaced it entirely. This was the 1960s. Environmental regulations were fundamentally different. Disney operated with freedoms that would be impossible under modern law. The ecological cost of this transformation remains a complicated legacy, but the philosophy was established. Disney would not adapt to nature. Disney would erase nature and build something new: total environmental control. With the land cleared and the lake rebuilt, Disney faced their greatest challenge: building a theme park that could never flood. Here is what most guests never realize. When you walk through Magic Kingdom, you are not on the ground floor. You are on the second story. The entire theme park sits elevated above a hidden world beneath your feet. They call them utilidors, a network of service corridors running underneath Magic Kingdom, where cast members move supplies, take breaks, and travel between lands without ever being seen by guests. But here is the critical detail. These are not tunnels dug into the floor to earth. They are structures built at ground level. Magic Kingdom was constructed on top of them. Earth was filled in around the utilidors, raising the entire park one full story above the original swamp. The surface you walk on is essentially a massive roof, and that roof is exposed to every rainstorm, every hurricane, every deluge that Florida delivers. Beneath it sits critical infrastructure that absolutely cannot flood. The stakes are enormous. This creates an engineering challenge unlike anything in conventional construction. Water must drain from park surfaces, but water cannot penetrate downward into the utilidors below. Every drop has to move laterally, sideways, out toward canals and retention systems at the edges of the property. Civil engineers use two principles to make this work. Profile grading controls the ups and downs of walkways. Main Street, USA actually tilts upward as you approach Cinderella Castle. This makes the castle appear larger. It makes exiting the park easier, and it directs water flow away from the hub. Cross slope controls the side-to-side tilt. Surfaces angle just enough to push water toward collection points. Guests never notice. But nothing in Magic Kingdom is flat. Every square foot is engineered to move water somewhere specific. And all of this must remain invisible. No guest wants to see industrial storm drains next to Cinderella Castle. Every catch basin must be disguised. Every drainage inlet hidden from view. The surface engineering is remarkable. But where does all that water actually go? The answer involves a hidden network most guests never see. In September 2025, Walt Disney Imagineering filed plans for a major Rivers of America renovation project. Within those engineering documents lies a window into something guests never see. It reveals Magic Kingdom's hidden drainage infrastructure, and the scope is staggering. Start at the surface. Catch basins scattered throughout the park connect to 10-inch storm drains buried beneath the walkways. These 10-inch pipes feed into larger 18-inch pipes. The 18-inch pipes connect to 24-inch lines. The system keeps expanding, with 36-inch pipes, 48-inch pipes, and 60-inch diameter lines capable of moving enormous volumes of water. Hundreds of catch basins across Magic Kingdom feed into this underground arterial network, and the scale is underground, but the pipes are just the transport system. The water has to go somewhere. That somewhere is a network of hidden ponds scattered across Disney property. Animal Kingdom alone contains 8 retention ponds that most guests never know exist. These are not decorative water features. These are functional infrastructure designed to hold massive quantities of stormwater. The ponds do more than store water. They treat it. Sedimentation allows heavy particles to sink to the bottom. Biological uptake occurs as plants and algae absorb metals, phosphorus, and nitrogen from the water. Sunlight exposure breaks down contaminants, and residence time matters. The longer water sits in these ponds, the cleaner it becomes before discharge. Inlet outfall structures connect the underground pipe network to these surface ponds. Water flows from catch basins through increasingly larger pipes into these structures, then releases into the retention system. After treatment, the water finally discharges into the canal network of the Reedy Creek Improvement District. The same canals Disney carved through swampland 60 years ago. The design capacity is impressive. Canals are engineered for 100-year flood events. Pipes are sized to handle 25-year, 24-hour design storms. Ponds offer enormous holding capacity. On paper, this system should handle almost anything Florida throws at it. The infrastructure exists, the capacity is there, the engineering is sound. So why do guests still find themselves wading through knee-deep water when storms hit? The answer reveals a weakness Disney cannot easily fix. Think of Disney's drainage system as a chain. Canals connect to ponds, ponds connect to pipes, and pipes connect to catch basins. The system is only as strong as its weakest link. Engineers have identified exactly where that weak link sits. Start with the canals. They are designed to handle 100-year flood events with massive capacity. They do not reach anywhere near full volume during typical storms, and they do not cause backup into the parks. The canals are not the problem. Eliminated. Next, the ponds. Enormous holding capacity, functioning as designed. They accept water from the pipe network and treat it before discharge. The ponds are not the problem. Eliminated. What about the pipes? They are sized for 25-year, 24-hour design storms. Occasionally, they get overwhelmed during extreme weather. But engineers confirm this is not the primary failure point. The pipes have capacity to spare, mostly eliminated. That leaves one component, the catch basins. The surface drains where water first enters the system. This is where Disney's drainage fails. The problem is brutally simple. These drains cannot capture water as fast as it falls during intense Florida storms. The math does not work. Rain hits the pavement at enormous rates. But the water arriving at each drain is not just what falls directly on it. Every surrounding surface is sloped to direct water toward these collection points. Walkways funnel water. Rooftops funnel water. Plazas funnel water. All of it converges on drains that have fixed capacity. Fantasyland is ground zero for this problem. Low points throughout the area create natural collection zones. When severe storms hit, water accumulates faster than drains can accept it. Guests see the result: ankle-deep water, knee-deep water, the flooding that ends up on social media. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Disney's underground infrastructure has capacity to spare. The canals can handle more. The ponds can handle more. The pipes can handle more. The bottleneck sits at the surface, the very place guests see and experience. The most visible part of the system is the weakest part of the system. So why has Disney not fixed it? Disney knows the problem exists. They have options. But every option comes with significant challenges. Option 1. Add more catch basins. The most straightforward solution is to install additional surface drains in chronic flood zones like Fantasyland and increase the system's intake capacity at the surface level. But this means construction disruption in active guest areas. It means integrating industrial infrastructure into carefully themed environments. It means cost, significant cost. Option 2. Regrade the park. Adjust the surface slopes throughout Magic Kingdom to redirect water toward additional drainage points, potentially directing flow into gardens or existing waterways that currently receive less runoff. But this is a massive undertaking. Construction would affect guest experience for extended periods, and changing drainage patterns can create unintended consequences. Fix one low point, create another. Option 3. Pump-assisted systems, active pumping rather than passive gravity drainage. Disney already uses this approach in the Utilidors beneath Magic Kingdom. The Muppet Vision 3D Orchestra pit once had its own dedicated pump system. The technology works, but pump systems are unusual for street-level infrastructure. They require constant power. They demand regular maintenance. They add failure points to a system that currently operates passively. Disney has proven they can engineer unique solutions when necessary. Spaceship Earth at Epcot contains an entirely self-contained internal drainage system. The golf courses historically pumped irrigation water directly from the Florida aquifer. Every major attraction and every new land requires custom engineering. Disney knows how to solve complex problems. But here is the cost-benefit reality. The flooding guests experience occurs during severe, short-duration storms, not daily operations, and not typical weather. The visible flooding is dramatic but infrequent. Does the investment in comprehensive upgrades justify the frequency of the problem? And beneath that calculation sits a deeper question. Is total victory over the swamp even possible? Or is occasional flooding simply the price of building a theme park on land that was never meant to support one? Disney's drainage system remains one of civil engineering's great achievements. But achievements have limits. 60 years of engineering, canals carved through wilderness, an entire lake drained and rebuilt, billions of dollars poured into pipes and ponds and pumps. The most complex drainage system ever constructed for a theme park. And still, when Florida storms arrive with enough intensity, the swamp remembers what it was. This is not a story of failure. Disney accomplished something extraordinary. They transformed uninhabitable wetland into a functioning city that hosts tens of millions of visitors every single year. They built a theme park on the second story of a structure sitting on conquered swampland. They created an invisible empire of drainage infrastructure that works flawlessly during normal conditions. They moved water in directions it had never moved before. They told nature what to do. And for most days of most years, nature listens. The engineering is remarkable. The achievement is undeniable. But Disney did not defeat nature. They negotiated a truce. And truces have terms. The terms here are simple. During typical storms, Disney wins. The water drains. The guests stay dry. The magic continues uninterrupted. The utilidors stay protected. The pipes move water to the ponds. The ponds treat it and send it to the canals. The system works exactly as designed. But during severe storms, during those intense Florida deluges that dump inches of rain in minutes, the swamp gets a moment. The catch basins cannot keep up. The water rises faster than drains can capture it, and guests experience something that has been true since 1890. This land floods. This land has always flooded. This land will always want to flood. Every puddle in Fantasyland is not a failure. Every flooded walkway is not a broken system. Every moment of knee-deep water is a reminder of the ongoing battle beneath your feet. A battle that Disney is winning, but not completely. Never completely. The swamp does not surrender. It waits. It tests. It probes for weakness. And during the right storm, at the right intensity, it reminds everyone what lies beneath the magic. The next time you find yourself walking through Magic Kingdom during a downpour, water rising around your ankles, children being lifted onto shoulders, cast members wading through the chaos with forced smiles, ask yourself a question. Are you witnessing infrastructure struggling to keep up? Or are you watching a swamp that has been waiting 60 years for its chance to return? Walt Disney built his vacation kingdom between two swamps because he thought they would protect him. He was right. They did protect him. From trespassers, from the outside world, from competition. But swamps have long memories. The land beneath the magic has never forgotten what it was. It was wetland before Disney arrived. It will be wetland long after the last guest leaves. The vacation kingdom was built on a swamp, and swamps always remember.